Okay, so now I think we've given a good chunk of time to layer two. I want to talk a little bit about beyond layer two. And I know this is a topic that is still, I don't have a good grasp on it. I don't know how many people do, but I hear discussions about layer threes and layer fours and fives and sixes. And the analogy of layers starts to break up for me there because I don't understand why these are additional numbers being put on top of two and one. They just seem like adjacent projects sometimes when people come up with layer threes and layer fours. Is there anything that belongs above layer two? What does that look like?
I'm gonna be honest. I have yet my I don't know. I think a while ago is there is no such thing as like a layer three. Like is my personal I think these are marketing terms that people are trying to use to make their project sound like the next inevitable thing that comes once you have layer two, you then have their project, if that makes sense. My problem with this is I really think of the layers, layer one and layer two, in terms of being able to transact and settlement. So I think of layer two as being like a settlement layer, the same as layer one. The only difference between them is that layer two is transacting in a different accounting system, right? Which is kind of what I've been talking about. But at the end of the day, it's all still Bitcoin. You're trading, you're dealing with Bitcoin. And you're settling, layer two lets you settle with Bitcoin in a different way, hopefully much faster, right? And at scale is kind of the thing. But it's all just transacting with Bitcoin. So these layer one and layer two, all of it has to do with transacting with Bitcoin. I think the thing that when people start trying to say layer three, layer four, is now they're no longer talking about transacting with Bitcoin. Now they're talking about logging into websites, or they're talking about creating a marketplace, or they're talking about some other maybe digital asset that you're able to transact with. And it just so happens that that digital asset is using the Bitcoin data system, so to speak. So you're no longer transacting with Bitcoin, you're transacting with something else, but it just so happened that that something else uses the Bitcoin ledger to do its accounting, right? So I would say that these things, I think calling those layers is definitely a stretch, because the way that we define layer one and layer two is we're transacting with Bitcoin. All of a sudden people are we want to do something else, and fill in the blank what something else is. And it's related to these things. Maybe it's something that is an offshoot of what, for example, being able to log into a website using your Lightning node. That's not at all related to transacting with Bitcoin, which is kind of the initial purpose of Lightning. It's a feature that you get because of the system that we built to do that, to transact with Lightning. So you kind of have these side effects that let you do stuff, and people are oh, well, let's call that a whole new layer. I would strongly argue that that's not a layer, that's a new feature. It's cool. You can say login with Lightning is a cool thing, and maybe login with Lightning isn't trying to call itself a layer three, in which case I apologize. But just as I think a pretty concrete example of a new thing you can do using this layer two system like Lightning, but isn't, it's not transacting with Bitcoin. So I would be I don't think that's a layer. I have yet to see something where I'm yeah, that's definitely a layer three. I feel maybe the closest thing is people oh, well, you can you can build Liquid, you can build the Lightning Network on top of Liquid Bitcoin. So your layer one becomes Liquid Bitcoin, and your layer two, three would become the Lightning. I would almost say then no, you still have a layer one and layer two, except the layer one is Liquid Bitcoin then, and the layer two is the Lightning Network you've built on top of it. I really think that as soon as we start trying to add more layers here, I think I think it I think you just start losing meaning, and people get confused because there is no rigorous there is no really easy to understand framework of why that fits and how it fits in with layer one and two, kind of. Maybe the real mistake was numbering layer one and layer two, because that gave people the impression that you could add a third number, because number lines go up. So the real mistake here is that we called layer two. Really, we should have called it I don't know, still Bitcoin but faster or something. I don't know.